Yo, what's going on everyone? So, in today's video, we are going to be talking about the new balance changes coming to the one, the only Clash Royale. Give my thoughts on, talk about everything. And this time, I figured that I would pre-record the audio so that instead of me being in a match, sometimes talking about what's happening, and going to check the balances like every every match to talk about like 3 or 4 cards. I just feel like this way would be a little bit better. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to be looking at the balance changes and talking about them now. So I'm going to leave a blank in the audio so that I can go into the match. Alright, so starting off here, we have the Evo Archers. So their health multiplier is going down from 1.25 to 1. So minus 20%. So I think this means that... Did they... I can't remember if they died to arrows before, but if they didn't, then they will now, obviously. But their damage multiplier is going from 1.70 to 2. So basically, 18% more damage. That's a lot of damage because the Evo Archers already do a lot. So now they'll do 2 times the damage. Kind of crazy. And not sure what they're cooking up here. I don't know if I really like that change. I mean, fragile cards that do a lot of damage, like we've seen them before, and it's just like they're really annoying. For example, the Evo Bomber. Evo Bomber, very fragile card. He dies to arrows, but he can get so much damage. And I know that obviously the Evo Archers are a lot harder to get onto the tower, I understand that, but fragile cards that do a lot of damage haven't really been perceived too well, so maybe it'll be a good change, I'm not sure. But either way, I think it's a fine change. Evo Bomber is going from 1 to 2 cycles, so an entire extra cycle to get to the Evo Bomber. Obviously, this is very good change. Evo Bomber is a very annoying no-skill card. People just abuse it, cycle it, play at the bridge, get like 600 damage every time they played it, unless you were quick enough. Like, really good change, nothing to talk about there. That was really well needed. Alright, so the Mortar's HP multiplier is going down from 1.2 to 1, so that's 17% less health. I don't really feel like the Evo Mortar needed a nerf. Like, by no means am I saying it was a bad card or is a bad card, but I just don't think it was necessary. They could have just left it as is, honestly. But seeing an Evo get a nerf is still a plus in my books. Alright, next, we have a buff here, which is recruits are getting 3% more HP. And I just hate this change. Now, I'm very biased against recruits. Like, I hate recruits. But even if I didn't, just why? Like, what is the point of this change? Like, I really just don't understand. Like, I understand recruits themselves without the Evo aren't the best card, but recruits are such a low skill card you can spam, and the decks with recruits are very annoying. Like, if you see a deck with, like, Hog, Expo, Mortar, Barrel, like, whatever win condition you want to pick, right? You can be like, okay, some of these decks are annoying, but like some of them are respectable, right? Like if you see 3.0, you're like, respectable, Ice Bow respectable, but if you see like Mini P.E.K.K.A, Archer Queen, Pump Bow, Spirit Spam, you're like, yeah, that's pretty annoying. But recruits are just always annoying. There's not a single respectable recruits deck. And again, I get they're not the best card, but buffing them just seems stupid in my opinion, just because they're already played enough with Evo recruits, which indirectly will increase the usage rate for Evo recruits, so in my opinion, that was not needed. Now, I don't think they should have gotten a nerf either, like the normal ones, but definitely shouldn't have received a buff. Alright, the runner damage, like the wall breakers, by the way, the Evo wall breakers. So their damage is going from 392 to 196, so a 50% split, and their speed is going from 90 to 120. I think that's a fine change, honestly. I mean, I don't think they were like the most broken Evo or anything. Obviously, a lot of damage, like way too much for 2 elixir. So it's definitely good they did that. Overall, I think it's a pretty good change. Gonna be a lot harder to react to, obviously, because it's a third quicker. So yeah, it says it's a nerf, which it is, obviously, but again, there's still like a little bit of a buff in there too. Pump generation time is going from 9 to 12 seconds, so basically how often you get elixir. And it is going from duration time, the duration time is going from 65 to 86 seconds, so a 32% increase. So basically, 12 seconds, that still means that the pump gets 7 elixir because it will take 12 seconds, and 12 times 7 is 84, and it lasts for 86 seconds, so if the pump basically doesn't get damaged, it will get a little bit of profit there. I don't really know how this change is going to impact pump. Obviously, the generation time is getting slowed down, but at the same time, it also lasts longer, so, like, I don't really know. I don't know how to feel about that one. It is what it is, I guess, in my books. Like, Moving on to the Evo Barts. Also, I'm looking at the Royal API Twitter screenshot, and it's going in order, but I'm just going up and down, so sue me if you know what I'm using. So I don't really care. Bit random, but anyway. So the Barts, these are Evo Barts HP multiplier is going from 1.25% to 1.10%. So minus 12% on the HP multiplier. That's fine by me. I don't know if this means if they'll survive Fireball or not. So if they don't survive Fireball, that's a huge game changer for Evo Barts because you can't Fireball them. You need a Zap or a Log or Spirit or something. Excuse me. So obviously big deal if they do die to Fireball. And the duration they get is going from 2 to 3 seconds. I'm assuming this is talking about when they get raged up by hitting things, but I could be wrong. Either way, I think it's a fine change. I don't really think it will affect the Barts too much when it comes to the duration. Obviously, it's going to help sometimes, but overall, I think it's a fine change. Alright, Evo Firecracker HP multiplier going from 1.30 to 1. So minus 23%. So this should mean that the Firecracker will die to arrows. Sorry, the Evo Firecracker will die to arrows. A round of applause. Thank God if that's the case, because this thing has way too much health. Not way too much health, but it shouldn't live arrows. And the big sparks duration are going from 2.5 seconds to 3 seconds. I mean, if all 5 are hitting, it's like, what? Or, sorry, well... Actually, no, it's just the big spark itself. I don't know how much the damage the big spark does per second, but I only imagine it's like an extra 100 more damage maybe, or like 80 damage. I'm not really sure on the numbers there, but if it dies to arrows, beautiful change. If it lasts half a second longer, I mean, it is what it is. Either way, at least it has less health. Alright, moving on to Evo RG. HP multiplier going from 1.1 to 1. Nice change. Again, this thing had way too much health in the beginning, so glad that it's getting a little bit of a nerf there. Evo RG isn't the most powerful thing in the game, but it is very annoying to deal with, so even if it's 9% less health, which is actually a lot because that's almost 10%, good change. Moving on, the Evo Larry's first hit time is going from 0.4 to 0.5, so 25%, sorry, extra 25%. So, I mean, I don't really... I guess it matters in a sense. Like, I just don't think it'll matter too much unless you go Evo Larry's split in the back or something for pressure, and then it takes like an extra half a second and it doesn't connect. But aside from that, usually when you put Evo Layers on something, they're either not expecting it or like they don't react in time to where their first hit speed will matter. So it's a nerf, but at the same time, I just don't really see it as that much of a nerf. So I guess it's fine. Moving on to Evo Zap, second strike damage will do 96 damage instead of 192, and the third strike damage will do 96 instead of 192. So I mean, good change there. Now I'm assuming this means that the first strike will do 192, and then 96, and then 96. So what? That's like 384 damage, I think, and before would have been like 576. So if I don't feel like that's the case though. That feels like way too much. Obviously, it's like reduced on crown towers and stuff. So, no, actually, it makes sense because okay, that makes sense. Never mind, because the magic archer. So, good change. Evo Zap is definitely way too good. You get a Zap 3 times for only 2 elixir. I mean, a little bit strong. All right, Goblin Drill. First spawn time, 0.5 seconds to 0.8 seconds. Good change. Goblin Drill has been way too broken this season. You barely have any time to react to it. You basically have to predict where it's going, otherwise the Goblin's locking on your tower unless something's already there. It's just insane. So thankfully they're changing that because that was a god-awful change. Like, I don't want to talk about it. Moving on to bats. Moving on to bats. First hit time is going from 0.3 seconds to 0.6 seconds. I think that's a good change, honestly. Evo bats, not like they've been the most broken thing all season or whatever, but they definitely are very strong and very annoying to deal with. So, I mean, that's 100% extra more time you get, so pretty cool. Oh, we'll take that, we'll take that. Also, I forgot to mention about the Firecracker. The small sparks duration will also be receiving 25% more time, going from ×2 to 2.5. The duration and the movement slowdown is going from 0 to 0.15, so I guess troops will get up slowed if they're caught in it, so it's cool, I guess. Moving on to RG, this is another one that makes me kind of upset too. RG's health is getting a 3% buff, so basically they nerfed the Evo RG's health and buff the normal RG's health. Now, RG has been pretty mediocre this season because everything else has just been way more strong, obviously, or sorry, stronger, I guess is the word. That's why it was made, not more strong. But why? Like, why? Again, I guess it's not broken, but by no means is RG a bad card, right? It just doesn't have its time to shine this season. Like, I really don't understand this. RG is by no means a bad card. Just because it's not doing good this season doesn't mean it's bad. Like, I really don't understand this buff. Maybe they want to, like, see more variety, or it's not more variety, but RG be back in the meta for some reason. But how about you help out other cards like Wizard, or Witch, or Bart Hut, or I don't know, Expo, Snowball, Freeze, Clone. Like, help out some little underdogs here. RG is by no means an underdog. He's just like a bear, like hibernating in the winter, waiting for spring for him to have a good season again. Bad change, in my opinion. Not needed at all. Moving on to Evo Tesla. HP multiplier going from 1.2 to 1.1, so that's minus 17% health, which I think is good. Evo Tesla was definitely a bit too tanky. I feel like just having the shock factor alone is good enough as an Evo. So I like that change. And once the Evo Tesla dies, it will also get a Death Shockwave. I think that's a pretty cool effect. I don't know if you would say it's needed or warranted, but I feel it's a fair trade. You get an extra shock and you get less health, so I feel like that's a good balance change right there. Moving on to the Cannoneer. Damage is going from 422 to 401, so that's minus 5%. Pretty good change in my opinion. Cannoneer has been broken, but like I said, it's similar with the RG. RG just doesn't have its time to shine yet. Cannoneer would still be the best tower troop in the game if Dagger Duchess didn't exist, so definitely a good change, because tower troops are very annoying, and I wish they get deleted from the game, because this game is going downhill as of recent. Well, more so as of recent. Next up, Evo Valorant. Push back to heavy troops. Mega Knight, Big Bone Jones, etc. So big cards like that, like Golem, P.E.K.K.A, like all that stuff, is going from 2 tiles to 0 tiles. So basically you have the mini P.E.K.K.A, you have the Larrys, they just get pushed out of the way, they get shoved, right? But then you have the P.E.K.K.A, Stonewall, impenetrable, doesn't move, won't move. Unstoppable force meets the immovable object. Basically, that's the scenario of what's going on here with the Evo Ram. So I feel like that's a good change. It definitely makes sense. Just how like a fireball can't push back a P.E.K.K.A and stuff like that. Good change. Yeah, not too much to say about that. Evo Knight, HP multiplier going from 1.2 to 1.1, so minus 8% health. But the damage reduction is going from 0.6 to 0.7, so it'll take 17% less damage. So in a sense, this is like a buff. Now, obviously, I'm somewhat joking, but it is kind of funny how they did that change. So if you have the Knight standing still, then obviously you're going to get rid of him quicker, but if he's moving, then he'll take more damage, so at the end of the day, I don't even know if it matters that much, honestly, just because he has so much health already, but yeah. Recruits, HP multiplier going from 1.11 to 1. Good change. Evo Recruits should not have that much health or do that much damage, so it's nice to see them getting a nerf because they're very annoying. Valkyrie, HP multiplier going from 1.15 to 1.1, so minus 4% health. Sure, I guess. I don't really think Evo Valkyrie's even that broken, so I don't really care if it gets buffed or nerfed, honestly. And finally, Dagger Duchess HP going from 3,218 to 2,780, minus 14%. good change. Huge chunk of health gone, but still, this is probably still going to be the best character in my opinion because it just does so much damage. They didn't really fix the the main issue with her, but it's still nice to see her get a nerf nonetheless. Hopefully, it gets a bigger nerf. Also, kind of disappointing not seeing Little Prince on here because he's been the most used champion ever since his release. So yeah. Anyways, that's been all the balance changes. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you in the next one, and as always, take care.